Hello, Sam. And let me also welcome all of our folks to our program we've titled today, 15 Million Reasons to Follow Proper Safe Deposit Procedures. This is a brand new program that I developed just a few months ago, and this was developed based on the number of calls that I received from all of the United States from institutions that are going through litigations, disappearance claims, and several real current TV specials relating to a reporter coming to your location and filming an individual who says their safe deposit box is now missing or all the contents have been stolen. So we're going to try to cover all those things today. But before we do, I would like to mention 4 important things. First of all, the handout material that was sent to you prior to this program. Hopefully when you receive that, if you have multiple people listening at your location, hopefully every person has their own set of handouts. The purpose of doing that is this is a very interactive program where you're going to be taking lots of notes from the time we start till the time we end this session today. And it's important that each person has their own set of handouts because this is your resource when you go back to your workstation later, and this will help you answer and address any questions or concerns that you might have. Now, the second thing I'd like to ask is the person who is the most familiar with your current safe deposit procedures, have that person sit directly in front of the computer keypad. The reason for that, with these question and answer periods that we're going to have, this is typically the person that has the most questions. And this is the person that we welcome that individual to send those questions to us so we can hopefully address those and answer those for all of our listeners today. So again, pick that person, have them sit directly in front of the computer, and please send the questions if you have them. And third, let me expand a little bit on my background. As you saw in the promotional material, I've been doing this for a long time. As you see on the screen, these are my clients. I travel the entire United States. I've been doing this for almost 27 years full time. Now, I got started doing it many years ago. If you look at the page 2, when I was a banker here in Houston, Texas. And as a banker in Houston, Texas, this is when I got involved in the safe deposit area. And I got involved in this area much like how most of our listeners got involved when I inherited the safe deposit responsibility. I had no clue what those people did in that department, but all of a sudden now I'm in charge. Well, I went to a program similar to the one you're attending today, and found out that everything my institution was doing and had been doing for the past 40 years was wrong. And we were setting ourselves up on a daily basis to be sued, and not a person in my bank knew that. So I got very, very interested, very, very involved in this department because I had to go back and make a change to everything we were doing and had been doing for all those years. And by the time that seminar was over, we had a brand new safe deposit area with new forms, new procedures, written manuals. Everything was new. And this is how I got started on doing this many, many, many years ago. So in today's session, if you'll turn to the next page, let's just talk about what we're going to be covering in the next 2 hours. We're going to be talking about current safe deposit lawsuits that have occurred within the last 24 months. And when these lawsuits occur, folks, I get lots and lots of calls here in my Houston office. I get calls from banks, I get calls from credit unions, I get calls from attorneys, and I get calls from consumers who have concerns about what's going on in their safe deposit area. Many of these things evolve into lawsuits. And what I'll do today is try to share with you a lot of the details that have been shared with me about all these different things that are going on. And no one is immune to these lawsuits, folks. I don't care whether you have 1 box rented or 10,000 box rented, you have the same liability and you have the same exposure to potential lawsuits if you're not following good procedures. And the second area we're going to talk about is something that is spreading from coast to coast. It's called self-service safe deposit boxes. And this got started back in the early 90s and out on the East Coast, and it is spreading across the United States. And we're going to talk about some current lawsuits that have occurred in institutions who have decided to do self-service safe deposit box, offering that to their clients. And some of these things are very significant lawsuits, very large, and they all have a reason that the institution got in trouble. Now, self-service boxes are basically promoted as a convenient service that you don't need an employee of the institution to be with you when you get in your box. And that brings us to our third item. We're going to talk about tools that are available to individuals that will open safe deposit boxes without keys in under 3 seconds. And folks, it's scary, folks. You can buy these things on the internet. And this is why self-service boxes are so, it's so important that you understand you can't leave people in your vault by themselves, which it's encouraged in that service under number 2. Then we're going to talk about the confusion that exists nationwide, and the confusion evolves around people thinking that we insure what they put in their safe deposit box. And if you did a survey of all your box renters, I will guarantee that a very high percentage of those box renters think that either you, FDIC, or NCUA insures what's in that box. And we're going to talk today about why that confusion exists and why we must clear up that confusion before it goes too far and we have something that prompts these people to come in and ask for an insurance claim form. Then on number 5, we'll talk about something that will really ruin your day: lock somebody in your vault overnight. And the most recent case, that just happened a few months ago up in Georgia, where a financial organization locked a small baby in their vault overnight. And folks, that wasn't a pleasant sight because they were surrounded by the media and all these other folks that spread this story from coast to coast. And number 6, we're going to give you a safe deposit liability test today to find out if you're ready for these lawsuits, for these vault lock-ins, answering questions for consumers about insurance. This test, it's a very short test, only 10 questions on it, will tell you if you're ready for these situations to occur in your institution. Then I've included in your handouts a report card where you can test your own procedures right now, because this report card has the questions that will be asked of you if you go into a courtroom after one of these litigations are filed against you. Then, as Sam said, we are going to have a couple of question and answer sessions today, and we welcome your questions, so please send those in as we progress through our today's session. Now, on your screen now, we're going to tell you what happened to these institutions. We're going to answer the most frequently asked questions about these lawsuits, and we're going to tell you what procedures were missing in each one of them, what things they did wrong in each one of them, and what they could have done to help avoid these massive losses. So when we get to the lawsuits, that's what we're going to be covering. And we're also going to go into these lawsuits, and the first several of these lawsuits are significantly large claims, and every one of them had a procedure that was missing, or several procedures, and we're going to talk about and pinpoint what procedures you need to be looking at in your institution to make sure you're not one of these examples that I present to you today. So now let's turn to page 5 and talk about the first lawsuit, and folks, it's big. $5.5 million. This lawsuit was filed back in 2009. It was settled just a couple of years ago in 2010 for an undisclosed amount. I can't tell you what the institution had to pay, but it was very close to what the original lawsuit was for. Now, in this particular case, let me just kind of walk down what happened to the institution. This all started when this large national financial institution decided to close numerous branches throughout their state. They closed all these branches, and out of those branches, hundreds of boxes were relocated, and they were all merged into one vault location. And we're talking about hundreds of boxes, folks, hundreds of boxes, all coming out of these branches and being shuffled into this one main vault location. But unfortunately, when this happened, very poor record keeping and documentation took place. The contracts on all these hundreds of boxes and the access records, they were misplaced. They don't know where they went, but they couldn't find them when they got all these boxes in place. The computer billing and history records were also lost on all these hundreds of boxes. And when they moved all these boxes into this one vault location, can you imagine the duplicate numbers that now we have in this one room? To solve that problem, somebody in the institution decided, let's just go ahead and change the box numbers on these boxes and make it easier to find the box sequence. So many box numbers were changed, which created even more monumental problems trying to figure out who these boxes belong to. Well, needless to say, after all these things had occurred, a safe deposit audit was needed, and it was performed in this institution. And once the audit was performed, of these thousands of boxes that were affected, 400 mystery boxes were identified, and they called Diebold and had him come in and drill all 400 of those boxes. Now, they did this quickly, too. All those 400 boxes were drilled in a matter of 2 days. Very, very poor drilling and dual control procedures existed in this institution. And when I say very poor drilling procedures, very sloppy box inventories were also done after these procedures took place, and they had contents scattered all over the floor. They had them scattered all over the top of boxes.